Margrethe shares details from Princess Mary's wedding in her new memoir. Margrethe, one of the bridesmaids from Princess Mary's 2004 wedding, has revealed what went down on the morning of the ceremony. Margrethe has done many things in her life. She was an executive at Mushroom Records, she was a contestant on Celebrity Survivor Australia, she co-hosted a breakfast radio show in Adelaide, and she was one of the royal bridesmaids at Princess Mary's wedding. Amber covers all of these events, including her friendship with Mary, Crown Princess of Denmark, in her memoir about mental health and love, This Is Not a Love Song. Out now, Amber wrote the book to show that for many of us, love is not always a fairy tale, despite what we're brought up to believe. Amber's very raw and revealing book details her mental health and self-esteem struggles, and even discloses a period where domestic violence was present in her life. She hopes her story will help others suffering similarly to turn their lives around. Below are 2 extracts from This Is Not a Love Song, which is available now from Booktopia or from Amber's website. Extract 1, this is from a chapter called Goodbye My Friend. It goes back to the early 2000s when Amber's best friend, Mary Donaldson, left Australia to pursue her relationship with heir to the Danish throne Prince Frederick, who she'd met at the Sydney Olympics. Things between Mary and her new Danish man progressed slowly yet steadily over the next 12 months. The long-distance courtship continued, with Frederick making trips back to Australia to spend time with her. There was no reference point for me to get my head around how life might look like if Mary and Frederick went the distance. Well, there was, but I found it too scary to think about. All I had was my intuition that he, a man from a very different world, appeared sincere and that their connection was growing at a natural pace. A year or so later Mary decided to leave for Paris. It made perfect sense. She and Frederick needed more time to be in each other's company. With the media in Australia on high alert, it was no longer feasible to meet in Sydney. Nor was it in Copenhagen. Paris was the perfect, and romantic, stepping stone. I felt selfish being down about her going, but I hated the idea of her being so far away. I didn't want to lose the light Mary brought to my life, the comfort and security of our friendship. I worried about being left alone in Sydney, knowing how self-destructive I was. How it might affect my mental state. I wasn't good at being kind to myself, as people would constantly remind me. My heart grew heavier as the day of Mary's departure approached. I was dreading our last 24 hours together, but they were creeping towards us regardless. We promised to spend as much time as we could together before she left, but as I sat on her bed watching her pack, I wanted to cry like an angry child. I wanted to scream, "I don't want you to go. I am not going to be okay." I didn't realize it then, but it was the first stage of my grief in losing her. While laying on Mary's bed watching her pack, I pretended to throw a tantrum, tossing one of her folded tops on the floor. I made out like I was laughing, but the tears running down my face were a giveaway. "You are not allowed to go, you silly thing. You're not. Do you hear me? I will not have it," I spat. Mary smiled sweetly, tenderly, like a mother being gentle with her child. She knew I meant it. It was my way of saying I was struggling. And I was. I truly was. The night before Mary flew out, we organized farewell drinks at one of her favorite pubs in Woollahra, a small gathering of her closest friends. The 2 of us made a pact to leave together so we could say goodbye privately. I'm not going to lie, I bloody hated that party, but I did my best to put on a brave face. The truth was I was happy she'd found love, she deserved it. But once the media got hold of the story the Australian girl dating a European prince it just confused what was already difficult enough. For Christ's sake, my best friend is moving away. How about you all piss off? At the end of the night we made our excuses and headed off. There was a lot of hugging and well wishes, with a few friends promising to look after me, the child, while she was gone. I felt dumb and sulky standing among everyone clinking Coronas and Chardonnays, bidding final farewells, while Jamiroquai's Space Cowboy played way too loudly. Heading towards Oxford Street, it felt somehow surreal. And unbelievably sad. With Mary plastered all over magazines in Australia and Denmark, awareness of her relationship with Frederick was at an all-time high, so she decided it was best she go to the airport the next day alone. I didn't like thinking of her doing something so big alone, but she was the grown-up and she didn't need to be photographed saying goodbye to her best friend, who was very likely to be clinging to the leg of her jeans, sobbing with snot and mascara streaked across her face, yelling, "Do leave me." We stopped at the cab rank and put our handbags down. It was time. I didn't want to rush our last moments, but there was also nothing left to say except the word I did not want to say. Through tears in our eyes and a lump in my throat that felt like a tumor, I shook my head in protest. "I'm not saying it. I don't have to. I'll talk to you at the airport, okay?" I'd found a loophole. I held tight in that last curbside hug. I felt such deep loss but also such gratitude that we shared such a beautiful chapter in our lives. And then I broke our stare, jumped in a cab and drove away. I felt crushed and alone in a city that didn't fit me anymore. There were still so many hurdles for Mary and the fear of the unknown ahead. So much that required my friend to be brave, but I knew her tears, for now, were simply for us. This odd couple friendship, unique, unexpected, and yet somehow, I believe, divinely intended. For me, my tears that night were because I felt like I was losing her forever. I knew from that night on we'd never live in the same country again, that all the things I treasured about us, listening to Powderfinger, Alex Lloyd, and Grinspoon, being silly and free, with nothing to do but sit and ponder life and its mysterious what-ifs, were over. So, here's the thing, I was right. They did go the distance. Mary married Frederick in a beautiful, big Danish royal wedding on May 14, 2004, at Vor Kirke, the Copenhagen Cathedral. And I, along with her sisters Patricia and Jane, were standing right there alongside her on the day as her bridesmaids. that all the things I treasured about us, listening to Powderfinger, Alex Lloyd, and Grinspoon, being silly and free, with nothing to do but sit and ponder life and its mysterious what-ifs, were over. So, here's the thing, I was right. They did go the distance. Mary married Frederick in a beautiful, big Danish royal wedding on May 14, 2004, at Vor Frue Kirke, the Copenhagen Cathedral. And I, along with her sisters Patricia and Jane, were standing right there alongside her on the day as her bridesmaids.